Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Hey, well, welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. I'm Spencer. Of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Dr. Nas. I couldn't think of nothing else.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're very prepared for the show.
Very.
Hey, remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. That's up to you. Go fuck yourself.
Okay, well, a little extra there. A little extra for this one. Don't forget to drop those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, today we have a special guest. She is a therapist, has over 20 years in the mental health field, and you can also follow her on her Instagram page called Mental Health Funnies. We welcome Dr. Funnies to the show.
Hello.
Yay, round of applause. Round of applause. You can't hear them.
Hello. But thank you for having me. I'm excited and scared and excited.
No reason to be scared. It's all right. It's all right.
Every date I've ever had, same description.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I wake up on a daily basis. You never know what's going to happen, but you take what comes.
There you go. There you go. Just let our white affirming voices heal you and help you.
My God. Jesus.
Keep laughing up a six-pack.
Hey,
Crunch.
keep that core.
Yep.
All right. So today we are actually going to be talking about the great movie Blankman, starring Damon Wayans and not Jason. I was about to say Jason Allen Greer. What a freaking idiot. That also stars the great David Allen Greer. If I'm assuming a lot of people have not seen this because it is one of those like just random movies that come out of nowhere. But it is hilarious, and pretty much anything with a Wayans in it is going to be funny. So we're going to be talking about the movie, but also we're going to be talking about death and grieving, tools and confidence, bullying, and then also we're going to be talking about neuroaffirming, as well as just a hint of vaginas in there. Just a hint.
Oh my gosh. It might come up.
Just once or twice. So, Nas, anything before we get into the show?
Excited to talk about it. I'm excited just to have some fun, right? You'll just be another one of the magnificent guests that we've had. So it's super awesome that you've come on, right? Another individual. I reached out to you after on Threads after you identified something about being a brown person, black person in the space. I was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we need to talk. Because I followed you.
It was like reasons of why I love being a black therapist, because one of my clients used the word cruddy in a session, and I knew exactly
Yep.
they were talking about. Like, oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I was like, we're gonna do this. As soon as I found out you're a woman of color, I'm like, yep. So let's book a time. Let's book a time. So we're gonna get into some really funny stuff today. Some of them will be Dr. Funnies doing their thing and like therapizing on some really good things that go on in therapy in sessions. And then we're going to do my little bit and Spencer's little bit where we do visual representations, kind of like have some fun, laugh and giggle, but also talk about neuroaffirming practices and how people feel seen, feel visualized, feel represented. Let's get into it as always, folks. Right. And we got the trigger warning, we're going to be talking some shit. So If you want, a real, soft spoken, then you go somewhere.
Why did you get your Creole voice on right now?
If you want,
if you want the gumbo, you go over here, right?
if
Go to the left corner on the side of Bayou Street. Remember that.
Hey,
all right.
I'm just saying, if you like
That's
unseasoned,
extra spicy.
That was good. That was a good.
it was good. I'm just saying, our podcast is, extra seasoning. It's a good season of. I just feel like a lot of dudes can't be autistic in a lot of spaces on the internet where, a lot of women, they can be, a lot of white women, they can be.
Yeah. Well, I'm autistic. You're like, here we go. Here we go.
So
here we go.
I want to always reframe and always talk about how we're here to have fun and a good time and experience other folks, other therapists, neurodivergent folks. Right. This is a place to have fun and enjoy ourselves. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna season this pig. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Scared. Can't even say woof woof. Trying to.
I just got done talking to a client, and I was like, the stereotype. She's like, "What stereotype?" I'm like, you white people don't season no food. And she said, "Well, it's just not healthy." I said, "Well, we get to live and taste our food. We die sooner, but it's a good life."
Healthy.
So I said,
"That's some extra season."
Yeah, I said, "Girl, you eating that plain ass chicken? You gonna end up choking and dying on that chicken now."
Wow, I'm 105 and I've never tasted seasoning. Good for you.
That's how they do it.
Yeah, well,
that's how they do it.
Get that shit out of here.
All right, let's start the show.
Hey everyone, have you been looking for something to help you when you feel extra fidgety? How about when you have a sensory overload? Well, I'm here to introduce you to the Oh No Fidget Roller. It helps me regulate and also feel at ease. The Oh No Roller comes in 5 different materials, including plastic, aluminum, steel, titanium, and silicone. You can use our code DSP10 to get 10% off your order when you visit onoroller.com and get your roll on.
Together and they still pitched in.
People know a good cause when they see one.
Nobody moves. Give me all your money. Now. That's it. That's it. Hand it over.
The checks.
Hand it over.
You ought to think about showering if you want to remain anonymous.
Good evening. Michael Manelli sends his regards.
When your burden seems to weigh you down, oh, the road it seems too far to carry on. Just look to me, and you will find help which cometh from the Lord. Hold on. Even when you feel you can't go on, you don't have to moan. Let your soul cry out to the Lord. Cry on.
Daryl, talk. You haven't said a word all night.
Come here.
He's got a knife! He's got a knife! Oh my God, I'm gonna die!
Thank you, young man.
Rest of you ain't shit!
Gee whiz, Kevin. Look what's happening to our neighborhood. They're gambling right out in the open.
Throwing bones, man. They always do that.
Kevin, look at the car. They have no respect for the law anymore. Gee whiz, they're selling drugs right across the street from our house.
Daryl, it's a crack house. That's what they do, sell crack.
Well, then they shouldn't be doing that.
Daryl,
Hey!
that's a crack house. Hey, come here. Daryl, you can't walk in no crack house, man. Those people are animals. They would sell their own babies for a hit.
Well, that's why somebody needs to close that place down.
Yeah, well, I got news for you, Urkel. You don't need a permit to open up a crack house. You close that one down, another one will open up right next door. You can't walk around like some vigilante.
Why not? Batman did it.
Batman? Daryl, that was fantasy. He had everything. You live in reality. You got nothing. You're no Batman.
Maybe I ought to be.
Bring your goofy ass on!
Someone should help that lady. You give up? Or you want me to get rough with you?
Listen, you little creep. You got 3 seconds to get the hell out of here. 1,
2, 3. Go ahead and shoot.
listen. Look what you made me do now. I had to kill a guy in this goddamn alley. Give me my money.
Want to try it again, pal?
The hell are you?
Why don't you shoot him in the head?
Yeah, shoot him in the head. That's right. I'm gonna shoot him in the head.
Uh-oh.
Kevin!
Oh, yeah, move!
Come on, let's get out of here, Daryl. Come on.
Don't call me by my real name! You're blowing my secret identity!
Nobody knows who you are. Come on, let's go, loony man. Leave you. That stupid costume.
I almost had him, Kevin.
Like what I did?
Yeah,
Bruce Lee.
that's what I was gonna do. I'm gonna karate chop him right in his...
Right, just come on.
Hey, Chuck. You got to hear this. Tell him who you come to see.
I want to speak to the commissioner.
Tell him why. Tell him why.
Duh, I'm a crime fighter. And I had a run-in with some punks last night, and I'm trying to get the cooperation of the police as I take these street punks down. Wait a minute, I don't see what's so funny.
What about your name? Tell him your name.
Okay, I don't have one yet, but I'm leaning towards Brother Man. Is someone behind me? What's the joke?
I got a name for you. How about Shithead Man?
I want to see the commissioner.
Oh, Commissioner! Shithead Man's here to see you. He's busy.
It's not a joke. And I'm not leaving here, gosh darn it, until I see the commissioner.
The judge said he can go as long as you take him to a shrink.
Thanks a lot, officer.
Bye, guys. And remember what I said. Life of crime is a waste of what? Hey, guys. I really think I've reached a couple of them.
Okay, Daryl, what is this?
That's an aerial view of the Fiji Islands.
Okay, and this?
A decorative Incan burial mask.
And these?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna pass.
Sure you want to pass? Okay.
The South American Twitsu butterfly.
I gotta tell you, Kevin, not only, look at this, not only is your brother normal, he's actually rather brilliant. The only problem I see is that he's, you know, a geek.
No. Now, he's got problems. He thinks he's a superhero. Tell him how you're a superhero.
I'm not a superhero, silly Billy.
All right, you just gonna chump me, right? Daryl, tell him how you fight crime.
Kevin, I'm an ordinary citizen. The police fight crimes. What's gotten into you lately?
He is a superhero. See, because last night when we were fighting crime, he gets shot. Pow! Bullets bounce right off of him. See, because he invented this jacket, make the bullets bounce right off, right? I can't get any sleep lately because of him, right? Plus, there's this female at my workplace. She thinks I'm not right because she caught me in the Xerox room talking to my nuts.
You were talking to your testicles?
No. I was talking to Daryl, my little brother, but it was through my belt buckle.
You were talking to your brother Daryl's testicles?
No.
Tell me about your mother, Kevin.
Yo, man, you say one more thing about my mama, I will jump, snap, mule, kick you right in the side of your head.
There's a lot of anger here. Is there this much anger around the house?
Dr. Norris, it's like living with a swollen Gary Coleman. This is my calling. I have to make the world a safer place for my children.
Your children? You got to be with the woman first. You got to knock some boots, man. You a virgin.
No, I'm a gentleman.
Now, this is obviously something that you got to do in order to work through Grandma's death. Now, if that's what you got to do, fine. But we will do this together. But we're going to do it my way.
Okay, Karate Man.
What?
It's your crime fighter name.
No, I don't. Don't call me that.
Where's the baby?
Bringing him up. He delivered him. He saved me.
Great photo. You're a hero.
You were wonderful. Who are you? What?
He's gone blank, man.
Oh. Blankman. Were you a true hero, Blankman?
Blankman.
Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about our new collaborator, Toink Toys. They have a wide selection of, you guessed it, toys and other great collectibles. They have products from Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, and everything pop culture. You could say they put the toy in Toink. So go check them out at toink.com and use our code Different Spectrums Podcast to get 10% off your entire order today.
And we back again.
We're back and we're live. This is live as the gingivitis that I got going on in my mouth right now. My shit hurt.
That's terrifying.
Shit hurt.
Listerine.
I need some bleach.
You also have insurance, so why don't you go to a dentist, you ass?
Well, it'd probably help if I brush my teeth.
Oh my God. It just gets worse.
Wow. All right. So today we're talking about Blankman, but before we get into that, we obviously have a guest here. It's funny. We're doing Blankman with somebody with a blank screen. So parallels. Yeah. So, like I said, we have a guest, Dr. Funnies. Welcome to the show. Can you give us just a brief overview of who are you and what have you done? You have a lot of followers on your Instagram, over 65,000, I think I saw.
Yep.
Wow, lots of followers. So, how did you come to be Dr. Funnies?
Yes. Well, first of all, shout out to the followers, because sometimes I don't even know. Most times I don't even know how this is happening. You know what I mean? I think I get messages all the time of them like kind of resonating with the memes or, the jokes and just understanding the life of both sides of what it's like to be a client and a therapist. And so, as you mentioned, I've been in the field for over 20 years. I've worked in many different arenas, from hospitals, veterans, addictions, children, families. And currently, I work mainly with adults. Youngest client is 15, oldest is 65 right now. Plethora of diagnoses, and pretty much approach is really client centered. So I really deal with my relationship with the clients. And so Dr. Funnies came to be because pandemic, pandemic happened. And like I said, I've been in this field a long time. So I've always done therapy face to face. So when pandemic came and we had to be virtual, it felt very isolating. Normally you're in the office, you have something happen with the client, you can talk to your coworker and be like, hey, this is what happened. You kind of talk, and kind of like the water cooler talk. And so when that was not able to be anymore, I decided like, okay, well, maybe I can, it started off positive. Maybe I can start like this, mental health page, because also when I'm on Instagram, I noticed my timeline was making me feel a certain way, like either anxious or down, and I didn't like that. And so something told me like, okay, well, I'm really into mental health. Let me see what's on this side. And so there were a couple accounts that I found that I started following. And so Psychotherapy Memes was one of them. She's kind of like my friend now. Her name is Nicole. I call her Obi-Wan Nicole. That's what I call her, because when I was starting off with the memes, I didn't want to offend people. You know what I mean? I knew I wanted to make people laugh. And so Mental Health Funnies came to be because I wanted to provide funnies for your mental. You know what I mean? That's why the logo is the way that it is. And shout out to my husband, by the way, because he hand drew the logo. So if you look at it, yes, that's his drawing on the computer. Yes, exactly. I was like, I need a logo. Please help me.
We keep it in the family. We keep it in the family.
Right, exactly. Sometimes he's not a therapist. He's more of a musician and an artist. So sometimes a lot of times I'll bounce some of the meme ideas off of him, or he'll come up with one and be like, well, why don't you think of something for this? So definitely, keep it in the family. And so I did a meme contest with Counseling Memes, which is another page who's become a friend of mine, right? And I think I got like runner up, first time runner up. We actually need to talk. We should do that again. And I gained like a bunch of followers from that. And then I started doing like podcast interviews. I just started like reaching out to people, and like sharing their stuff, commenting on their stuff. And they started doing the same with me. And then 65,000 followers later, here we are. And I'm very much grateful for it.
It's what we call glow up, Spence.
Right.
I haven't had
blow
one
up,
yet.
Blow up, all of it.
Blow up, glow up.
It's both.
Me being Arab, only blow up sweet God is. I'm just gonna.
Oh my God.
We.
Oh.
My
God.
We also have a lot of heart attacks in the family. So.
Why are you bringing this up?
Google my family.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you?
No.
I don't think so.
Anyway.
Anywho, back to the interview. So right now you are all about anonymity, right? You want to keep anonymous to your identity and stuff like that. How did that come up, and why?
That's a good question. I don't know. Some of the memes are a little spicy, when it comes to clients, and so at the same time, I didn't want that to kind of be like if anybody found me and then like was in my sessions, I didn't want that to be the focus. And then on top of that, it's just become really fun over the past couple of years, because I could just kind of, people don't know who the hell I am.
Yep.
I did a little thing on my story where it was like get to know your memer, right? And so I had like a little quiz and people could pick what they thought they knew about me. And either way, you would get to know even if you got the answer wrong. And so I had a question on there of if you thought I was a white male, a white female, a black female, or black male. Majority people thought I was a white male.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Most people think I'm a white guy, which is interesting.
You give off white man energy.
I asked my husband, I'm like, well, what is it? He was like, no, it's just the caliber of memes that you're using. Like, you can't really pinpoint. It's very pop culture. Then I got some old school from the 80s stuff.
Yep.
It's funny to me. I'm like, okay.
Yes, we're going to have an IPA meme here. It's coming up. Yes. After February. After.
Oh my!
Not during. Not during.
Not during.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe sooner or later, who knows? Maybe I will come out of my anonymity. I can never say that word right, but I think I did. And maybe I will show my face, and we'll see how that goes.
Loses 10,000 followers instantly.
I don't want this.
No.
Another one of them. What do you mean?
They tricked me. God damn it! They tricked me again.
You people
Right.
should have built that wall.
Yeah.
Keeping out.
Or even like some of I always wonder, I'm waiting for the day, because sometimes my clients do send me like memes or TikToks, and so I'm waiting for the day that one of them sends me my own meme.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When other followers send me memes, reels, videos of like other therapist page, like I love it, and also I'm like, you better be sending my shit too, motherfucker. Like,
where's our shit? We got some reels. I got some TikToks.
I got some good shit on there now. I'm like,
exactly.
Yep.
I sometimes I want to say it so bad. I think I've told one client that I run a meme account. I never told them the name or anything.
Good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've said just to get them to know, like, there's stuff out here that you can follow to help with your mental health. You know what I mean? Depending on what your humor is like.
Yeah.
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 And I guess kind of going off of that also is just, do you use humor while you're actually, with a client or anything like that?
You've seen my page, right? So,
well, since it's anonymous, I'm thinking like maybe you're just like,
I mean,
yes, serious here, jokes here.
Well, we just got to make sure it's not white dick energy over here now.
Definitely not. No, not that.
What do you like? What do you like in therapy? Like, great question, Spencer.
Oh my God, I am. I would call myself definitely kind of a chameleon, because not everybody you can use humor with, and luckily, like, just like you got a spectrum here, my humor has a spectrum as well. It goes from really light and funny to like, ooh, girl, what? Why did you say that? Yeah. I'm saving those memes for maybe like a different type of page. We'll see. But yeah, so it's very lighthearted. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll talk about your parents. You know what I mean? You'll talk about what you had for lunch. I mean, we talk about it all.
Yeah, like, so you never know. Sometimes we're talking about dates, relationships, and then sometimes we're talking about, how we murdered them and now we're eating them for lunch.
I was just waiting for it.
I knew it was coming. Just the pause. I was like, it's coming. There it is. Cannibalism. Nice.
Right. It's like the brain, the wheels are turning. I can see him.
Yeah. You can always tell when he's about to say, we talking. I'm like, fuck. Because then he starts it off some good things, and then he's just like, murder.
So, was the case that they gave me. Dr. Funnies. So obviously I texted you. I thought we would relate and be like a good pairing for our show, right? And me and Spence get kind of out there with some things. And we can go outlandish with some things and be like very vulgar. Most of the time though, it's like pretty good. We're giving a lot of good mental health, right? But you got to weed through some of the shit. I get that. So for you though, since we do have somewhat of the same humor, personality, maybe even style, I would assume style in therapy, where we can get to the trauma, we can get to the tears, we can provide the empathy, support, kindness, right? I mean, I will cry in session with some clients. I just did it the other day with another person with the same identity, Mexican as myself. And I think a lot of people may see us and they, you know, they get confused. They don't think that maybe for me, you know, they think that I'm, you know, super funny and that I can't do the real work. And then my clients are like, holy shit, no, Nas is good. Or they'll see me in presentations or big panels and they're like, hold, this brain is nuts. So I wondered what that's like for you to hold the duality of being a professional, being a Black person, being a Black woman, being a mom, but also being funny and humorous and sarcastic, right? How do you hold that? How do you code switch that, right? So that's what Spencer was asking. I just want to go further into that. I find it very difficult, and I find a lot of like shame around my counterparts.
I hear you. Well, one, I think I've been funny my whole life, honestly. I was just talking about when a good friend of mine, she used to call me up when we were in middle school. We're still friends to this day, over 30 years. And she used to call me up in middle school, like, say something funny. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. I'm just on. I'm really in the moment with people, and I've wanted to do this job for as long as I can remember. You know what I mean? Like, I've had people in my family who suffered, you know, from mental illness. I've watched movies I probably shouldn't at a young age. Sybil, if you know that movie, with the, you know, multiple personality disorders, which is now, of course, dissociative identity disorder. And so it just kind of comes natural with the territory of really wanting to help people. And I've had clients as of recently, since I started working right before the pandemic in this type of role, that I've had now since I started. You know, my very first client that I saw when I started doing virtual therapy, well, it was back in November of 2019. We started together. We've been together ever since. And I have maybe like 15 to 20 clients where we've been together at least 3 or 4 years now.
That's awesome.
And they've told me, like, look, I don't care where you go. I'm following you. And that happened. I literally just switched practices back in this past October. And that 15 to 20 clients, they've all come with me, you know. And I think they appreciate my me being authentic. I think that's what you're talking about, is like being okay knowing, like, I'm not the therapist for everybody. Okay? Like, if I'm with you, if you enjoy, you know, what we're talking about or how my style is, because I'm not super directive all the time. Like I said, I'm kind of a chameleon. So what you need? What do you need? Do you need direction? Do you need some worksheets? Do you need me to just listen and try to validate your feelings? Like, and that's the same client each session. It could be different on what they need. You know, and I find myself being flexible with that. And as far as the humor goes, like, coming through grad school, of course, I learned the whole, you know, tabula rasa. You're supposed to be like a blank slate, and you're not supposed to be very reactive. And I'm like, man, that's not for me. You know,
Very white.
I think, yeah, I just couldn't. I needed to be myself. And the more I was myself in sessions, I saw the more people kind of resonated with that. And being myself in session is really like putting on that therapist hat and turning it up a notch. You know what I mean? Like, my brain kind of thinks like that anyway, giving empathy to people, understanding people's backgrounds, why people do the things they do, for the most part. You know, don't catch me on a bad day, but for the most part, you know what I mean? But in sessions, right, it's really turned up. And again, it's for each client, depending on who you are, what session you need. Like, do you really need me to focus and pin in on you and really turn up the analyzation? Or, okay, well, I can pull it back for some, because they do it themselves. Those are the best sessions, when the clients talk around and they come to their own conclusion. Yes, because I didn't have to say anything. And that's kind of the point. You know, you have this person here that will validate you and you can say whatever you want to freely, and you hear it out loud, and you're like, that don't make no sense. Why do I think like that? And I'm like, yeah, why do you think like that? Who told you to think like that?
Because you're crazy, bitch.
Wow.
No, it's fine because they got some type of trauma. They've heard it somewhere, right? They've been insecure, beaten by the world. Yeah, no one's just crazy. Like, they're made crazy. We are stripped of our humanity.
Crazy.
I know.
That was such a Pops. Oh my God, you said just like Pops. That's crazy.
No, no.
My gosh.
No, that's wonderful. And I identify with literally all of that. 100%. You know, what do you need in the moment, right? I had a client the other day and we're talking. No, they're talking. So I'm letting them go. But we got some shit to get to because there was these things that we went over about relationships and partners and family members. But they wanted to go in these places and not feeling good in higher education, super white, and might not being a brown woman. And so we let them go on that. I know that we have some stuff to get to. End of the day, I said, fuck, I'm going to give this kid extra time. I don't care. Because I don't get to see a lot of brown students. I want to make sure that I gave this brown student enough space. There's not a lot of brown therapists. So eventually they kept going in this circle. I said, kid, you think too damn much and you're talking in circles. They said, what? I said, you do this. You just loop and you intellectualize and then you'll make a point to yourself and then you devalue it and then you'll stop it and that's just too much.
Right.
So I had to redirect in the moment, and then we had to talk about feelings and sitting on it, and in it, not on it. You know, I sit on it too now.
Oh, Jesus.
Please don't.
I'm not. But the fun thing is I said, why are you so guarded in my office? I can tell that you're guarded and you're holding back certain things. I get it when you're politically in these classes, big time student, big time departments. Like even with me, like you're like holding back. Well, I'm just scared I'm going to say something inappropriate. I said, what the fuck are you going to say inappropriate in here? I'm like the one person you can talk to. So I found it interesting because that's what I took away. It made me think of this human I just got done working with. Just say it. Get out of all the anxiety and pressure and stigma. Just say it.
Yeah. Yep. But they, nobody really lets them do that. So
nope. So it's awesome.
They gotta know it again.
It's awesome that you're providing the space for them to do that over the last 3 years.
Yeah. It's been a journey. And, that's the thing also about long-term therapy is that you can see the progress for real. So when your client is like, man, I'm never going to da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, well, remember back in 2021 when you thought you were never going to get that job? And look at you now. You've been working for a year and you're like, dang, yeah. That's right. Like, exactly. You made it through. You're going to make it through again. So come on.
I met you and you was dressing like a chicken. and now you got a job.
For fun or for work?
For pleasure.
Oh, pleasure.
Of course. Why not?
I'm not hating on furries. I'm just making a small
Yes,
joke.
You are.
No, I'm not hating on furries.
No furries.
Or furries are going to be coming after us. I would dare them come after me in their fucking suits. Come here.
Please don't. No, they do. Yeah, I got a lot of clients that are furries. Calm down.
No. Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I hate higher ed, man, is because I never get to see the progress. I get to see like little doses of it, but long-term clients that I've had since I started on BetterHelp, because I wanted to see if I wanted to work with older adults, because I've only worked with college students. My God, I've had them for 3 years now, like 5 of them. Yeah, and it's magnificent.
Exactly.
And it would be more, but some of them like, I want to cut the cord and see if I can do it on your own. I'm like, kid, you could have been done this on your own.
Exactly.
Like, you're good.
I be trying to cut the cord. They be like, nah. I'm like, are you sure? Why you coming? You sure you don't want to? No, we got more to work on. Okay.
Hey, they have more to work on, or just a place to process.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on to the show. I recently had a client who said, I just love talking to you, and even if I had a great day, I can just say that it was a great day. I don't have to worry about showing up damaged in your office, and then you're gonna kick me out. And like, and then I was like, I was about to kick you out. I was like, you want to try group therapy?
You said
that. Because I was like, kid, you're stable. So group support, you can talk, process some things, work on social anxiety. But it's interesting. A lot of clients are are scared that if they're not damaged enough, then there's nothing to talk about. There's always something to talk about and process.
Oh yeah.
And if you got the money or insurance or a health savings account, then do it. A place to process is awesome. Like the client I was just talking about a second ago, probably should have a therapist for many years and just meet every couple of weeks and just process, because you need extra processing.
Yeah.
You need it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Definitely. I totally agree with that. And I've seen that, you know what I mean? Because like you, I worked with kids and families, and some of them I got to work with for a long time, for about like 8 years. So I saw them like grow up, you know, and now we don't really have contact. So I have no idea what's happened with them. But I understood then, you know, especially then working with adults, what it really looks like for that really long-term therapy for them on that side, to keep coming and having that place to process and talk about things. You know, some of my clients that I've had for long term, if we have to skip like a couple of weeks, like we both notice, like, yeah, we both notice that you need it's almost like a tune-up, like, you know, because you had it down, you were thinking great, now something happened and now it's got twisted. So let's repair what's happened here.
You got to do it. You know, you didn't bury any animals for a couple of weeks, and then you left me, and now and look what you did.
You left them out in the open instead of burying them. Look at you.
I know.
You're ready to come out as a serial killer.
Yep. Okay, let's get into the show.
Hey, one question
Go ahead.
I gotta ask though. So, and Naz, you can also answer this as well. So you're in an industry where you look different than a lot of the rest of the therapists, but then you also act differently, right? So do you think like that has detracted from like your career kind of being out there, being different, not only just because of what you look like, but also by how you act as well? You're not this, robot person. You're actually, getting them to you're getting your clients to actually relate to you personally in ways. Do you think that's detracted you from where you could be, or do you think like, no, like this has actually helped me progress even
in my
more
career?
In my career. Yeah.
Right. I think it's definitely a mix, I would say. I say a mix because coming through grad school and going through like internships and supervisions, it was tough. It was a lot of prejudice, a lot of I was stereotyped a lot. Yes, I am a Black woman who actually grew up in the suburbs, in a two-parent household, and I have siblings, and so if you have a stereotype of Black women, then you might not think that's where I came from, and I remember just times feeling like, was I cut out for this? I had a really horrible situation. I talked about it on another podcast, Am I a Bad Therapist podcast, where I actually ended up set back in my schooling for almost 2 years, because I was discriminated against, and it didn't turn out the way that I would hope it would have. And so that really I almost didn't keep going. I really didn't. If it wasn't for my family knowing that that was my passion to keep going. And so when I look back at those moments, I'm also like, oh, that's why that happened. Because I was a little too naive, a little too soft. We're in a human services profession, so you think that the people that you work with would treat you like a human, and sometimes no, that's not the case. And so you have to basically lift the veil with that. That's what I had to do. Advocate for myself, because that's not something that I felt comfortable doing. And so now where I am, the position that I'm in right now, I feel good about it. I say that because I'm studying to take this daggone licensing exam. And if I'm being honest, I just failed it for a second time.
Happens.
A couple weeks ago. So I'm back in the saddle with it and really trying to get it, because I know there's not a lot of Black and brown licensed what I would be as a licensed clinical psychologist. And so I know that is a position that if I held, I could really do good things in. And honestly, with the meme page as well, like that's why there's a portion of me like, well, maybe eventually I'll come out because I don't know a lot like me that are doing what I'm doing. And I want to do things with that. I want to write a book. I love writing. I want to do a podcast as well. There's things I want to do. So I feel excited about the possibilities of where I can go now in my career, even with those situations happening before. I know I had to grow from them. I hope that answered the question.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
And honestly, best of luck actually getting your license as well.
Yes.
Because
Thank
yeah,
you very much.
definitely need more licensed therapists.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
I agree with everything that Spence said. I agree with everything that Dr. Funny said. Just a tough thing. The code switching, the people looking down on you, saying certain things, and then me being a big boy and having to over feminize myself to make sure that other white folks are comfortable. But being able to unmask with all my clients that are sometimes scared of me at first, and then they're like, "I never want to leave you." It's tough. But to be a brown therapist with another brown student in front of you, magnificent. To be a brown therapist with white students in front of you, international students in front of you, magnificent. Because now you're changing the whole narrative for me. What is men? What is masculinity? What are Mexicans? What are Arabs? Right? What is it to be biracial? What is it to be highly educated? What is it to still lift a ton of weights and also be able to cry in session with someone? And so I get to change all these different things. And so as do you and many other therapists of color. It's a wonderful privilege, but it's a fuck ton of a burden. As some folks know, Spencer knows, right? I was almost kicked out of my graduate program, been kicked out of many internships. I was kicked out of many schools when I was in undergrad or in like middle school. Undergrad, I was kicked out of school for violence. I've had a lot. It took me a long time to get the degrees I got, way longer than everybody else. But now I'm here and I'm saving lives and it's fucking awesome.
Exactly. Wow, what a hell of a story. Yeah.
Oh, it's intense.
Well, we share a lot of things I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully none of yours were like violent ones though, because,
Right.
I almost legit buried a couple people. So, it was,
No.
I got the shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And I always make fun of that, because a lot of people of color were angry, don't even know why.
Yeah.
And then I like to protect people. And when you say certain slurs and you keep pushing the buttons, or when you hold guns at family members, I'm going to attack. So, but that's the old school me, and none of my family will ever be in that position. I'll never be in that position again. And I've never touched anyone since, because I know my limits and boundaries. I actually had a dream the other day that someone was like, "No, Nas," and I was like, "Okay." But that's a good segue into Blankman, where he decides to become the superhero. I gave it up. They shoot motherfuckers.
And the good that way.
Good that way.
Violence and then autism. All right. So, all right. Blankman. Black Batman. Let's put that out there. It's the Black Batman. Yeah, Black Batman. Essentially, really smart guy. Only difference is he didn't have money, so he had to be even more creative with his gadgets and stuff like that.
True.
Which you could say even better than Batman, because Batman had every possibility in the world to do anything he wanted.
So Blankman is actually more powerful than Batman.
Yeah, essentially so. Yeah.
Black people always doing it better.
Yeah. Hey, did Batman create like this weird potion to make you bulletproof? I don't think so.
He deliver any babies?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He's too busy to deliver babies, especially black babies. Fuck out of here.
He's too busy making them.
Where? I have time for this. Yes. Another bank robbery. I have time for this. Let's get this done, lady.
Oh my god.
But yeah. So, Blankman follows Daryl and Kevin, both brothers who grow up with their grandmother. And I think they grew up in Chicago because the cop had a Chicago flag on his thing. They never really say where they're from, but I think it's Chicago. And so I thought it was Detroit because R5 has a Detroit hat on. So I thought
Oh,
it was
okay.
Detroit. I was like, another great showing of Detroit. Damn you, RoboCop. Um, but follows both of them, and their grandmother dies because she stood up to like this mobster who was trying to threaten the new mayor or mayor want to be, I guess.
Yeah.
And so she dies, and then now Daryl and Kevin are kind of well, Daryl mostly wants to become a crime fighter, a vigilante, because they used to watch Batman, the old school Batman, Adam West. Um, which I think right now we want to talk about death and grieving, and I think that for every super, even in this movie, they know that superheroes always have death and grieving, and that's what pushes them to be even more part of, trying to save their community. Um, I like this version of it because they're actually trying to save a community altogether themselves, while Batman, he has to save cities or he's just beating up people. But for this one, they're actually trying to help communities out, doing like the little things. And they're not getting paid for it, except for in appliances so that Blankman can make even more gadgets.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. So, when we talk about death and grieving, the first scene obviously is the funeral scene for their grandmother, and Daryl's just he's sobbing. He's
hurting.
sobbing.
He's hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's even like Kevin slips him like a little thing to wipe his nose, and he's just like he just starts eating his snot and then hands it right back to him.
Yeah.
Uh, so what made you want to do this scene, Dr. Funnies?
Um, well, it seems, we talk about death and grieving, mainly grieving, how everybody deals with death and grieving individually, not one and the same. So you see, like you say, like Daryl's snotting up and crying, and Kevin, he lost his grandmother too. He's just, like he's okay. Not that he's okay, but he's not showing emotion like that. You know what I mean? So I do wonder, like, does he feel like he can't show that emotion because he has to be strong? He has to be there for Daryl. Now he knows he's the one that has to take over. And then what would that do to him if he can't express that emotion? You know what I mean? You gotta like push it down because you can't. You don't have time to do that. You gotta move on to the next thing. And then I was looking up. Okay, Freud is not my guy. Okay, let me just put that out there. He's not my guy.
Hey.
But some of the stuff he talks about, I can see where he got it from. So like defense mechanisms, right? So one of them that I was looking at, because it made me think when I was watching the show back, it made me think about this particular defense mechanism, which is sublimation. And so that's when you take an unacceptable impulse and you turn it into a socially more admirable endeavor, right? So the impulse that he's feeling of, the fact that his grandmom has passed, and, he's feeling like the neighborhood is just gone to death and destruction. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to now become a crime fighter and stop all of this. And you see the first instance where he does that is on the train, right? He's on the train with the older lady. She's getting her purse robbed. He's looking around. He's like, nobody's doing anything. And right then he decides to get up and risk his life, to take care of her. Yeah, I always thought that scene was funny because she was like, rest of y'all shit.
Oh, you bitches.
Right. But that's why I chose that scene, mainly because of like, I have clients, of course, that deal with death and grieving, whether it be someone in their family has passed away or someone in their family is on the verge of passing away, like either they're have a terminal illness or, Alzheimer's or something like that, or they themselves are just obsessed with the thought of death and being scared to die, or just having like ruminating thoughts about it. So we work on those things in sessions as best as we can, when we talk about death here, it's not always in a positive light. You know what I mean? When we look at movies and stuff like that, it's always violence and everybody's always scared. In other places, they talk about death a little bit more joyously, almost rite of passage, So sometimes that's what we try to focus on, and managing the anxieties that come with that.
Yep. I like that. It shows both of them being so different at the funeral. And depending on certain reasons, upbringing, trauma, right, being the older brother, being like familyless now, different. I think that there's always both of those sides though in every one of us. Whether you get to show it or not, that deeply emotional, booger snotting everywhere, like that's there. It might not happen right then and there. It might happen later. It might happen in a different form or fashion. You might become obsessive about one thing or another. You really never know how grief is going to hurt, or how hurting is going to change, or how it's going to manifest. Right. I've seen it where folks try to control for everything after that. I've seen it where they've gotten deeper and closer and more loving with their friends, family, and partners, more mindful. I've seen it where people reserve and they push others away because they don't want to get hurt again. Me and myself, you go into my mom's funeral, it's weird. I actually was more choked up and emotional at my brother's funeral than my mother's funeral. The mother's, it was just kind of dissociated. It's kind of weird. And then you end up crying later on. You drive in the car or smell someone with her perfume on, or you wondering, how cool it would have been for her to see all the accomplishments I've had now. And you cry in the car. Always in the car. For me. So you just really never know how grief's going to hit you. As I tell my clients, my ADHD ones, I say, one day you will have a random eulogy made out for your parents that are still alive. And you're just going to think about their eulogy and what you're going to say at them. And you're going to fucking sob.
Exactly.
Spence doesn't know this story. I actually had that exact moment when we were all in Las Vegas. Me, Pop, Spencer, my brother, and my best friend, all in one hotel in Vegas. And I just randomly was like, one day my dad's going to... Yeah, it was way old when we were in Vegas. Or not
We've
Vegas.
never been to Vegas.
It was Atlantic City.
Oh, wait a minute.
Atlantic
I've
City.
never been to Vegas.
It's the white trash version.
Hey, this is the Hangover Part 4.
No, this is the Hangover with homeless people. Sorry, unhoused.
Yeah.
No. So we was in Atlantic City, and I remember thinking about how awesome that trip was and how this is probably my father's last trip. And so I remember I just woke up and I was just thinking about us and how fun it was. And then next thing you know, I was like, this motherfucker's going to die one day. I'm like dry heaving, sobbing. I'm like, if these motherfuckers wake up, I'm screwed.
Oh, yeah. I was sleeping on the floor. I had no idea what was happening.
Yep.
That fucking room, it smelled like mildew.
Oh, it was horrible. Fucking Atlantic City. Atlantic
Apparently,
City.
mesothelioma or whatever the fuck it's called.
Mesothelioma?
Not mesothelioma. No.
Not mesothelioma.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thelioma.
Not mesomelanino.
You're right about, like, you never know when it's going to hit you. I don't know if you've seen that analogy. It's like a painting of it's like a grief box basically, and it's got a little button in it that has pain on it. And so inside this big box is this huge ball. So when the death first happens, that button of pain is getting pushed all the time. But as time goes on, the ball gets smaller, and then every once in a while, that little button gets pushed. It's kind of like how grief works, because you spoke about your mom. My mom passed away as well. And now it's been, I think, maybe 9 years. The date gets leery on me because, obviously when it happened, you're just like, but it's been a while. And so on her death anniversary last year, I was fine. No problems. This past January, I was a mess. And I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. But I went with that feeling. And that's what I tell some of my clients as well. Like, don't hide from the feelings that come up. You really do have to go into them. That's how you heal. Because if you try to suppress them, they just kind of come up in other places sometimes. You don't get to really heal from the grief, and that person who passed, if they were that close to you, then yeah, it's okay to shed tears for that person. It shouldn't be shameful, is what I try to get them to feel and understand.
100%. I told a client the other day, I said, I just need to forget about it. That's what they said. I said, I don't think that's a thing. I said, I probably always will love them and always remember them, and they're always going to be a part of your life. And I think maybe we go through it, but maybe you get a little bit over it, but I don't think you just forget. That's not the thing. You don't erase that time, whether it was good or bad relationship that they were in with the family dynamic, whatever it is, loved one, doesn't matter. I don't think forgetting about it and getting over it, you just go through it, you learn to manage it, and then things just get a little bit better. I was just watching a show the other day, and I was like, ooh, this is a good one for me and Spencer to do a podcast on. I forgot what show it was. And he just simply said, it just gets a little more distant. Grief, things just get a little bit more distant. Still there, still painful, just a little bit. It's like, I like that. It's interesting. I know we're all laughing about the boogers and snot, and then he's the superhero now. I want to talk real quick, and then we'll shift. The bystander effect and how people just don't do anything to help. And, she's getting robbed. There's a bunch of crazy shit going on. But there's a lot of folks that are like, no, I'm going to do something. And often, more often than not, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of black and brown bodies that are doing that. A lot of women that are doing it too. Dudes super preserved. I don't want to gender and put race on it, but you do see the difference.
Yeah.
But the communities in general, we just sit and watch a lot of things, even though it's right in front of us. Someone falls or someone needs the door open, or you're like, hey, I see people, and this isn't patronizing. I see people walking outside with their groceries, whether maybe they're disabled, maybe they can't walk, maybe they're older. Okay, you want me to help? Even me, I'm terrified to ask because I think they might think I'm going to rob them. I'm like, legit, you want me to help you? And they're like, every time it's usually no, but every once in a while they're like, yes. I'm like, yeah, I can put the fucking pound of sand or sugar like in your car. Like, let me do it. And you just see other people just walk by, and it just feels so cold and unconsiderate.
Yeah, it's the humanness aspect of it, and I think it's also depending on where you are, your area.
Correct.
That you're in.
Correct. We're in the Midwest, so things are a little bit safer over here.
Okay, I'm near Baltimore, so
Yeah. I probably am going to rob you in Baltimore.
I mean, this is expected. I mean, what am I supposed to do? That'd be strange if I didn't rob you.
Yeah, it would be. If I didn't rob you, then, I mean, I'd be doing you a disservice on teaching you now how to defend yourself.
Yeah. And then I'm a punk, and then I get robbed. Come on. If you see someone trying to help someone out and not rob them in Baltimore, I mean, what is this?
Well, see, the thing
Candyland?
You gotta know you gotta know the streets, okay? You gotta know which streets to be on and which streets to not.
Jesus, what street are you on? Did your education not get you out of poverty? Jesus.
I said near.
Oh, okay, near Baltimore.
Hood, my house.
God,
over here. Don't worry about it.
You're living right next to Blankman with the fucking
Damn. Why are there so many cars with boots on them?
Jesus. Well, it goes to show you, folks, don't become a counselor.
Yeah. You will not be paid.
You will not be paid. And, crack is there. So.
What? Thank you.
Or the poll.
Or the poll. Hey.
Or the poll. Hey. I mean, hey, gotta get your shit done.
Hey. It's not polls, and it's OnlyFans now. Still social media. Dr. Funnies.
That's right.
I'm not going any further.
Don't say that.
I'm not going any funny.
Don't do it.
You ain't anonymous anymore. Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Oh, so many bad things. Next scene.
Let's bring it back. Next scene. This is where Blankman has his debut and gets slapped. He just gets slapped. And then also going along with that, when it goes to, so I mean they all merge together, really.
They do.
So let's kind of talk about all of them at once. So Yeah, so the first scene that we're going to be talking about is when he gets slapped around, starts
Some
screaming
alley.
like a woman, uh, very high pitched. And then going along with that, and then Blankman goes to the precinct and wants to, tell him all about like, hey, I want to talk to the commissioner, all that stuff, and then they laugh in his face. Right in his face. Just no. And then that also leads into where he's in the psychologist's office or psychiatrist, depending on whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
You know it's bad when at the end of the day it is a white man.
A white man showing titties too?
Oh my god.
Not good. It's not good.
Okay, it's toxic all around.
You seen these before?
Never.
No, I have no idea what those are. No idea.
I've never seen those. Why am I salivating?
Jesus.
So
they were drawn too well.
Okay, let's pivot.
All right, tools and confidence. Let's talk about the tools and confidence we need to have to kind of get through this and how it relates to this scene with Blankman.
So somewhat tools, somewhat confidence. I think this is all three of these scenes are like a nice merge of how, okay, you finally start to take ownership of your life. You finally start to like live in your truth and your reality. And then you might have bit off something that you can't chew. You know, you went a little bit too far, too fast. And as my clients, they go into a reality, right? They're like, I can do it. I can do. Oh my God, what have I done? It's like when all my students go to college for the first time and they're in chemistry 101, they're like, oh, I'm dumb. Okay, got it. No. It's like when you go to the gym for the first time in years and you're like, oh, I'm in pain. I'm not in shape. It's when they go ask someone out on a date and they're like, well, I ain't got no words. All I, hey, my name is Bob. I meant to say Juan.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. It's when the clients, they go out there, even me and myself, you put yourself in a position to win. And then you realize that the moment was too big. You realize it was too much. And then next thing you know, the world starts slapping you around. It starts metaphorically, physically, literally beating you down. And then you're like, damn, because you're like, I am not strong enough for this. I thought that was where I was going with that metaphorically in my brain. I think it's going to be a very funny meme and reel. You know, when you thought you were going to have a good day,
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. I prayed last night for God to bring me a better day. I think that was where I was going with that. And then his brother steps in. His brother would be the pseudo therapist. He would be maybe his best friend. It could be a mentor. Like, hey man, you're like, I'm gonna step in, protect you. And then that's when you bring your client into your office and you start providing these skills, these tools, right? You start changing some opinions, maybe the way they speak about certain things, maybe about making smaller objectives and goals to get to the actual real goal. We start breaking things down a little bit, Spence, that way they don't fail immediately. Because as soon as you fail immediately, now you're depressed. Now you want to give up. Now you don't want to go to the gym anymore. Now you don't want to try in that class anymore. You're like, I'm never going to date again. Okay, you fucked up once. We can live with that. So I feel like it's the therapist, like going in there, whipping some ass real quick. Yeah. And he's also like neuro-affirming because he was getting in it. And he was like, he pulled out some karate judo shit in there, right? I'm like, hey, look at this.
He learned it from the YMCA.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. As you go into the next scenes, I think it's a lot just about bullying. And I would ask everyone who's listening, I know almost all of you have felt like that. When you're in that, jail and everyone's belittling you, they're making fun of the way you dress, talk, the words that you're using, right? Maybe the way you carry yourself with femininity, masculinity. It's a horrific feeling. And I know everyone that listens to the pod that's neurodivergent, marginalized, black or brown, is going to identify with that. Being the butt of a joke. So then you know, as it moves forward, right, he steps back in as a bigger brother, and hey, we're gonna do this shit my way. We're gonna teach you how to do this a little bit safer, so you don't get your ass kicked. I'm still neuroaffirming. You can still dress up in a bunny costume, goddamn it. But like, there's a time and a place. We in Baltimore, goddamn it. You know,
you can't be running around a bunny suit in Baltimore. Let me tell you, it's not gonna be good.
You know, be good. Oh no, hey, someone gonna get on you. Someone gonna be hopping on you. So. And funny story, and I'm gonna move on. I remember me and Salim doesn't really get social awareness. We're like trying to get something in the store. It's like it's pretty hood in there. I'm fine and comfortable, and it's fine. I'm good. Like there's nothing to be afraid of with my identities. With Salim in there, me mugging people and staring at people. I'm like, stop staring. He's like, I'm not. I'm like, so you gonna get a shot? Then what? You know, he's like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, we gotta go. We just leave it. I stole the shit and left.
We gotta go. We can't even pay for this.
we gotta
They gonna know we have credit cards. We gotta go.
We gotta go. We gotta get shot. So I bring that up because it's a lot of things that folks need coaching about, and the context means something. The place where you're at means something. You know, therapists can help you coach with that, mentors, family members, whatever. So that was my opinion on picking those scenes. Dr. Funnies, what was your idea of like, now that you've heard me like therapize it in my weird kind of neurodivergent self, like, do you see those visuals and can you relate to some of those scenes or what's up? Have you ever been slapped around a little?
For sure, yes.
Oh, damn. It was consensual.
I liked it. I liked it.
It left a little mark, but I liked it. Hey, we gotta chill, bro. I ain't had my blood pressure med in fucking days.
Yeah, you would have calmed down. You were like, eh.
Jesus. I just had half my face was like,
The smaller goals one for sure. Like sometimes our clients do bite off more than they can chew, and if you know your client, like you've had your client for a long time, I know I say something like, are you sure? Like, do you think that's a good idea? Like my client last week, I had to literally tell her like, because she's like, I have a day off tomorrow and I'm going to do my budget and I'm going to do this. I was like, if you don't sit your tail down, what are you talking about? You have a day off. You just complained about how the week has been stressful. You've been running and gunning. Take the day off. Don't do anything. The budget can wait. Like you don't have to do it, you know, and make it a goal for tomorrow. So sometimes it really is about helping them like rearrange their goals or organize them or make them smaller or more realistic. You know, I'm gonna do this every day. Well, why don't you try with one day a week? Well, we start on Thursdays and then we'll just build up because you know once you get into things, you just stop because it's hard to maintain. So let's start off small. Or some clients do feel bad about themselves. They beat themselves up when they don't meet their goals. And I'm like, but you set the goal. You ain't get fired. You're still alive. Like nobody's hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. You're mad about your own goal. That's fine. You can change it if you need to. Sometimes our expectations don't get met and we get disappointed, but disappointment is a part of life and we got to figure out how to manage the feelings that come with that.
It's a part of my marriage. Disappointment.
Yeah. Exactly. You try to go through life to avoid it. Most of us do, but it's inescapable.
Inescapable.
Yes.
Yep. What about the bullying scene? You ever been, because I know you're different, you know, so you know.
Bro, I was bullied all of 8th grade. My whole 8th grade. I spent a good majority of it in the bathroom. And it was tough. It felt isolating. You feel like there's people that want to help you, but they can't. And that makes it worse. It's just like, and it hasn't changed from what I see. The only thing that's changed about it is it's online now. At least in my day, you could go home and you didn't have to hear it anymore. You had to wait till you went to school the next day. Now, kids don't get afforded that luxury, which I feel now was a luxury. So I have some kids that I've helped and dealt with that scenario. Of dealing with bullying. It's something that happens. I mean, hell, it's not just in high school. It happens in the workplace too. So yeah,
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. You're right. I don't think me and Spence have ever touched on that yet. We've talked a lot about bullying, but never really about the online portion of it. I think it's interesting too, not just the bullying overt, but also like kind of this covert thing. So with my graduate students recently, we talked about how toxic LinkedIn is, how everyone's like happy, and all my grad students like, I ain't got a fucking job. I'm about to get fucking deported, like, because I'm international. Like, fuck LinkedIn. And I was like, yeah, don't go on that shit.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, oh my God, look at my news story where I just got this beautiful job. And you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I hope you fall.
I hope you lose your job.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry. Didn't mean it.
Sorry, Sarah.
It was a joke. Yeah, I didn't mean it. Yeah, I hope you keep it.
But it's like the world sometimes feels like it's also bullying you as well. Okay, I get some folks say, calm down, you're being the victim and all that. But like, no, this shit eats away at you. Social media eats away at you. The system eats away at you. It's tough. And sometimes it's nice to commiserate and just sit in those feelings. Sometimes, if you need to do it. Also, what you said, 100%, take a fucking break. You got the weekend off, take it.
Yeah.
I've pumped the brakes on a lot of things since like winter break, and it's been magnificent. Playing video games, chilling with Spence. I'm like, hey, dude, we can't do a pod today. And he's like, I'm tired too. Let's just play games. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's about knowing your breaks and limitations. But bullying online, oh God, I'm so glad that we didn't have to really go up in that, Spence.
Yeah, we like grew up right when it was like starting.
Popping. Like when it really started, yeah.
Because we had like MySpace and Facebook and stuff, but not to a level to where it is now. Like you can't do anything. Like if you can't talk to certain people. Like before, you could be like rumored about you or something like that, something weird. But now they can take screenshots of shit. No, thank you.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
People get mad at your location now. They tracking your location on Snapchat, or if you're in their top friends list and they're not in their top friends list, it's like you got to keep up with the streaks. Otherwise, you're not popular. If you don't keep up with the streaks, I've never even paid attention to the streak. I only talk to you and Colin, so.
Yeah, well, streak.
What the hell are streaks?
I ain't got the only streaks I got are in my drawers.
Oh no.
Those streaks stink, literally.
Boys. They're like,
on the front and back.
No, not the skid marks. No.
What did my client say the other day? He said, we was in group therapy. He said, it's the back butt and the front butt. I said, did you just say front butt in therapy? And what is it? And where are we going with this joke?
What you got going on?
I gotta talk about something funny. Some human was talking about, emotions, their mood, their cycle, and how that changes things, and how they felt horrible, like their cycle could mess up a lot of their emotions. Are their emotions real, or is it just the hormonal effects? And one of the boys goes, you know what? Men have cycles too. I heard this. And I was like, I said, shut the fuck up. We not going there. Oh no, I'm gonna go somewhere. I said, no. Someone brings up cycle, you don't say shit as a dude. Please don't.
I have one thing to say.
I was just like, this why you ain't got no girlfriend, my dog.
Okay.
That's the reason.
That's the reason.
On a cycle. All right.
On a cycle. Hey, I remember telling the intern, anytime someone says some stupid like this, shit like that again, just cut them off immediately like I did. Don't get mad. Don't get scared. Cut them off. Oh my God. I'm a feminist.
When did the feminists take the black right sign? What did that happen?
What type of sign do you want me to show? Is this a sign?
There you go. There it is. You're like, I got something for you.
Oh my God.
Feminism.
Hey, which leads us into the next clip. Dr. Funnies, I'm gonna ask you this question. Why did you pick that therapist scene? What was up with that? Because I figured, I don't know.
And what were some of your interpretations of some of the things that he was
What were your
pulling up on his
interpretations
cards?
of the cards, and why did you pick that scene?
Well, I picked it because as a trained, a person who does these assessments, it's like, what the hell is he doing? First, and how therapists or psychologists or whatever get portrayed in the field. So, like, that test that he was trying to give is called the Rorschach ink blot test, for those that don't know. The cards that he showed obviously are not the actual cards that the ink blot test contains. It's supposed to be illegal to show those cards. I have seen them before, like 1 or 2 cards, like printed, maybe in a book or maybe in film. I can't remember which film it was. But I used to love giving that test. It's a very tedious test to give, but it is insightful. And it's about personality. So when at the end he's like, "Oh, your brother's very smart," I'm like, "Well, how the hell do you know that? That's a personality test. It's not an IQ test. So why are you giving that to him?" And then it's also, calling him a geek. Then turning on the family member, but tell me about your mother. And it's like, see, that's what people think we do. Like, people think that you come into the office and I'm just going to turn on you and make you talk about your parents. Partially, but not all the time. It's not the first thing that we do, unless that's what you're coming for. So sometimes it kind of it gets under my skin. It's a little pet peeve of mine when I see us portrayed on TV, because it's never truly accurate. I don't know if it could ever really be, honestly.
I know if they showed me on TV, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Take his license.
You pretty much have a show. It's called Mo on Netflix.
Yeah, see, they show me doing therapy though. They're like, "This is why we didn't let you people read."
Oh my god, that's why we did it. Yeah, now I'm remembering.
Yeah,
there it is.
We should have never,
I forgot, but now I know. Now I know.
They're like, we shouldn't have took this land from all those Mexicans and natives. We should have just left y'all alone. Terrible people. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, should have never got lost in that sea, even though we found America. But it was a mistake.
Whoops.
You're right. That Rorschach thing is interesting. So, right, me being a social worker and therapist, we don't do the testing and assessments like y'all do. And so I don't know what the cards look like. And then, I'm looking at these cards. The very first one, I thought they were all sexual.
Oh, I think that might be a little.
That's a personality.
Might need to write that down, Doc.
My personality is pervert.
Yeah. I didn't even notice they were titties. I thought it was another vagina, 2 vaginas side by side. I thought that's what it was.
The first one looked like, someone was laying down and their legs open in the stirrups.
Oh my God.
And then I didn't even notice the Tiki Man until we watched it the second time. I'm like, okay, so that's not a vagina.
That's that one. That's
the face that was just in one. And then it shows the boobies, and I was just like, why?
Wanted to throw him off a little bit. Just be like, I have no idea.
People think that when they do show that test, that's how they show it. Like, what does this look like? And the therapist is just, it's like, no, while you're asking them what it looks like, you're writing at the same time. You got to see it like how they see it. Then you got to go back through it. There's a whole scoring system that comes with it. Is their answer ordinary? Is it not ordinary? What category does it fall into? What are the codes? It's a whole thing. Yes, it's super tedious. And then it spits out a whole personality profile of what type of person you are to a degree. Obviously it's subjective, right? Because it's a subjective test. But for those that it's needed for, it works for them.
Okay. I thought it was interesting you said, we don't always talk about your mama.
Hey. Let me tell you,
Right.
Not in Naz's office.
Yeah, it always goes.
Mama's the first thing.
Yep, how she hurt you.
How did you know?
Yeah,
No.
I know. Come here, child. Come here.
Yes.
Come here, baby.
My sisters do that. We go there. Like if my client comes in and they're like, I don't have anything to talk about today. I'm like, oh yeah? Let me pull this. Let me ask about your mama.
Last week we talked about
Let's talk about why you develop this anxious personality and why you're a perfectionist,
Right.
or why you don't ever talk about your emotions. Let's talk about how you seek unhealthy relationships, because that's all you saw from your parents.
I got a whole list.
Let's talk about the issues about you being like the oldest adult or the single parent mom. Let's talk about, like, there's a lot that goes into the psychodynamics of like what makes you you, and it's not always about your parents being shitty. That's not what it's about. It's about you figuring out your personality and maybe rewriting some of that to where you can be your own person instead of the one that was programmed to be something.
Yeah.
So is it about family stuff? Correct. Is it about family stuff? Yes, no. Funny thing, and now I'm gonna kick it to the doc again, is recently we were talking about, relationships, dating, partners. We're scared, right? This person's scared. And there's this thing that we did in graduate school where they make you write down your partners and the things that you liked, the things that you disliked. It could be looks, but mostly personality traits, whatever it is, whatever your likes were, whatever the things you hated about them. And so you did it with your partners, maybe your best friend or two, and then your parents. And then you go through and you circle the top 2 things that you liked in every category for everyone, the top 2 things that you disliked in every category. And okay, so you're gaining some insight of what you like in people, what you don't like in people, and then you get to the parents and you're like, damn. I'm gonna fuck my mama.
Oh my fucking God.
Okay, so that was a little far. But you find out that the things that you like in your parents and the things that you dislike in your parents are also the things that you see.
Isn't that like Freud's like main thing? It's
Yes.
like fucking your mom.
Yeah. So that's why I said it, because she brought it up.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I know that.
You looking good, mama.
Oh
you looking real good. You looking like a motherfucking freshly basted turkey.
Can you make me some pasta just like she did? Marrying you.
Oh no.
I need you to put this wig on and beat me a little.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Speaking Spanish.
That was too far.
Sorry.
That was way too far.
I'm not gonna survive.
That was way too far.
You fucking weirdo. All right. Moving on.
But no, I was just saying this.
No, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
Move on.
Shut the fuck up. Don't tell me, like, oh, wait a minute now. I got more to take.
Mama, no.
Oh my God. I think also something to point out for this movie, in the 90s, right?
Correct.
90s and black men, we're still trying to figure out black people going to therapy. 90s was not happening.
No.
It was just not happening.
No.
There's no way.
No.
You were no. So they're definitely not going to paint a good light of therapists or anything in the 90s when it comes to black men, because at that point it was a joke. It was a joke because it's like, this is not going to help me, especially since the way they're living, it's not going to help.
No,
it's not going to help. So it is what it is.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Smash, keep it on track.
Excellent point. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. And now we're going to talk about virginity.
No. I only put that scene in there because it's him like, hey, we're going to do it my way. We already talked about that. Next scene.
You're a virgin.
Hey,
right.
Not in my mind. Not in my mind.
This counts. All right. So
I said this at a party the other day. They said, treat yourself. I said, no one treats me like I treat myself. And all the other therapists are like, congratulations. And I was like, thank you.
Thank you.
No.
It was
he
pretty
tips
bad.
his hat and then he leaves. All right. So last scene that we have, all about Blankman becoming Blankman, right? he just drew a blank after he helped deliver a baby in an elevator. And then, he becomes Blankman. So sometimes we just become a blank in certain moments. There you go. I don't know what you want else to talk about here, but
No, Doc, have you ever had these moments, or do your clients have those moments?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know when I was younger, for sure, like emotions, like trying to pinpoint emotions were kind of like a whirlwind for me. I blame it on being an Aquarius.
What's that got to do with fish?
what does that do with my salmon?
Aquarium.
It's just they felt like kind of I had to like you had to pinpoint it and figure out the word. Sometimes it's the words, right? Knowing the words to use to express yourself, feeling comfortable expressing yourself. And what I find with a lot of my clients who have been coming to me for a while is like they become kind of more self-aware, and then that leads to them being able to express themselves more in those moments when they would be blank or freeze up or not know what to say, whether it be to defend themselves or advocate for themselves, or even just empathize with another person, because some people have that freeze response. I have some clients where they've had friends get upset with them because their friend was going through something and the client didn't like offer this type of support and constantly check on them or give them hugs. And the client is like, well, I kind of froze. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I've definitely had some moments, and my clients do talk about having those moments themselves. I can get it.
Yep. I thought it was a magnificent moment there because I've been there myself where you don't know what to do. There's some stuff going on with some coworkers and visas, and so they have to go back to the country, and they're crying, and everyone's supporting and hugging them, and I'm just sitting there like awkwardly like looking at the floor like I'm gonna just sit here.
Yeah.
I've got it where a lot of my clients, I'll ask them questions and like there's a long pause, they immediately go blank. The alexithymia kicks in, the emotions vanish, the words vanish. Sometimes there's too many words and they don't know which one to select. Sometimes they're itemizing what they want to say. Sometimes it's just blank and they just lost everything. Poor young lady was in group therapy the other day, and I asked a question, should have been a layup of a question, and they just froze. And I was like, oh, they're going to get really embarrassed about this, because even I was a little sus about it, the quietness. So I was like, I need to be very specific with the questions, and then I'm going to go back and then go a little forward. And then it was fine. Everything was good. They were like, I don't know what to say. And I was like, all right, let me pivot. So it happens a lot, and a lot of different places. People will just go blank. It happens at your doctor, grocery store. Someone asked me, what's your favorite movie? Huh?
Yeah, totally.
What do you love about your partner? Well, they got to play. I'm just like, you couldn't think of nothing else?
Oh, I thought it was you saying that.
No,
like, damn,
no,
bro.
it's not me saying that. Yeah, no.
Open the door, out the closet. Here we go.
Yeah, hey, Oh, reminds me. When Dr. Funny sent an email today, they said cool beans. I'm like, why are you saying beans? Because I'm Mexican.
With some tapatio.
Yeah. I was like, you want to wrap me up in a tortilla? Like, what do you mean?
With
cool
some rice?
Beans? Well, they're black, so black people like beans too, though. So.
Oh my God.
Bean pie, bean soda.
Bush baked beans. I don't know. You know, y'all like some beans. Man.
Beans, lima beans.
Lima beans.
Black eyed peas that are technically beans, but they call them peas.
Right, but they call them peas. I never got that, but okay.
It's a bean. In a Mexican house, there's the funny looking beans.
That's racism right there. Why they call the black eyed peas not beans? I don't know.
See?
I don't know.
Why you guys saying
racism?
Right.
Oh man. So it's just interesting. Like you always blank, but I tell you what, no one never blanks on one thing. What are things about you hate about yourself? Whenever it's negative things, we can immediately come up with them. But anything that's positive or recollection, we blank. Even neurotypical individuals blank, and neurodivergent folks, ADHD folks, autistic folks, it's like the blank is intense. And most people are uncomfortable with it, and then they just fill the space and they never get to let that person talk. And I always have to moderate that with one of my best friends, Colin, that started the podcast with us, because it takes him a second. You just got me and Spencer just got to give him a second now. Wait him out, and he'll say some shit. It ain't gonna make no sense, but he'll say some shit.
Yeah.
It's about a topic we already talked about 20 minutes ago, but you know what? It's there.
Hey, that body's foot sticking out again. Oh, damn.
God damn it.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same sometimes with clients too, because sometimes you got to find a rhythm with your clients. Some clients, they come in and they just go. They just, they're giving you everything. Or you ask them a question and they just immediately are ready to answer. And then other clients, it's like they'll answer the question with like a couple of words. And sometimes myself, even still being seasoned, I still fight the urge to say something. Because I've done that before where, I've said something right when they were about to say something. So then they forgot what they were about to say. And I feel like a jackass because I just trampled. I didn't mean to, So sometimes it is like waiting them out, because I think if you, as a therapist, for me, I know if I just kind of allow the space to be there, then maybe they'll keep talking. And normally that's what happens. And sometimes it can feel uncomfortable, but we got to feel comfortable sitting in that kind of silence,
The silence, it takes time. With neurodivergent folks, it takes time. Not all ADHD is the same. Not all of it's hyperactive. Sometimes you got to wait it out. Not all autism is super quiet and stoic. Sometimes it's very verbose and very excitable and happy-go-lucky and tons of words, and they don't shut the hell up, and you barely get one word in. And you're like, fuck, did we even do therapy today? Pay the receptionist.
Exactly.
I still get my money. So
right. Still gotta get paid. Or even me sometimes as a therapist, I've definitely had freeze moments where a client has said something, or they ask you like, what do you think I should do? Now I've gotten better with that, because I'm like, of course, what do you want to do? Or you already know what you want to do, so let's talk about that. And 9 times out of 10, most people do though. It's just you don't feel comfortable with doing that for whatever reasons. Let's talk about it.
I love that when they put it on you. Sometimes they put it on you, Spence.
Right.
And they'll be like, what do you think I should do? Should I text them or call them? Or what do you think I should do with my parents or my job? And then sometimes they'll be like, why are you always trying to sell me on the thing that you want to do? Like, just do it.
Right.
Well,
you just want this thing. I told you to do it. No.
I said, you ain't putting this shit on me now, Rebecca.
But you put this on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put this on me, Ricky Bobby. I hope you have beautiful sons.
Beautiful sons, and I hope their legs are taken away. So you know what that feels like.
That's how I feel with everyone on LinkedIn.
Oh my God. Shout out to our LinkedIn followers.
Yeah.
Most of you are spam, so it's fine.
Oh my God, have you noticed on our Twitter, it's all spam that's following us now? And they're all like porn bots.
What are you doing?
I swear I'm not doing anything.
Sure.
We started their browser before we got on.
Yep. Clear the cookies after this. Clear the cookies. They infected.
They can't find me.
Yep. It's just interesting, the freezing response and clients. And you said you find your groove, you find a way to ask, you get comfortable with pausing and giving them time, or it's better on asking more specific direct questions. Sometimes it's finding the common interest, and then they start to open up, and then you can start with that to get them warmed up. Sometimes you just got to get people warmed up in a conversation, and now it's like, oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
And the last thing is you'd be surprised. You put a neurodivergent person in an office, you give them a little stress toy, fidget toy, stuffed animal, and now they regulate, and now they can talk because they're able to focus on this object. And so it allows their brain to like process. It's almost like a little bootleg EMDR. They can process things better.
Exactly.
So that's how I was going to end it. Spence, I don't know if you got anything else for Dr. Funnies, or you got any seasoning you want to put on the podcast today? Any words, affirmation, kindness, any wisdom, any memeology?
Paprika.
Paprika.
Right. It's Larry's. It's okay. It's Larry's.
Get
Okay.
that.
No,
That Lowry's.
yes, no. I had a ball. I knew I would, based off of the podcast that I saw that you've done
Jesus.
before. I would love to return if you'll have me. I'm a big movie watcher, so yeah.
We're going in a direction where we've noticed that we mostly get along. You may or may not know Spencer's also biracial as well, black and white, Mexican and Arab, and so we've noticed that we get along much better with folks of color.
Yeah,
is this something about our people?
Yeah.
And I love it every single time. It's not failed. Everyone that we've had on the color, everyone else is awesome too, but it's a different synergy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Also, with folks that are neurodivergent, it's a different synergy too there. But sometimes it gets a little weird.
Yeah,
it's a little weird.
Tough. A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it takes a turn sometimes.
Takes a turn. Hey,
dinosaurs are like,
what the hell?
We're talking about the color purple. I don't know what's happening here. I don't get it.
But
I don't understand.
I knew I was going to love you just from the page. I'm so wonderful and honored to know that you exist. I don't give a shit about my podcast. I really don't. I am honored to know that you exist as a person, that your clients get to see you.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
And that they get to heal from you, because it's nice to know that I'm not alone, that there's other humans just like this, and that I'm not a piece of shit, because you exist and you're magnificent. So if I'm just 1/10 of you, I must be doing okay.
Oh my God, you're going to bring me to tears.
I just needed to let you know how fun this was today, and that I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that I found you.
Yes.
Very serious.
Oh my God, I truly, truly appreciate those words. You guys are hilarious. Definitely my type of people. Okay, where I can get my other type of humor off. Okay, a little bit more unhinged, which is up my alley. So.
Hey, it's fine. You might have to get tested afterwards, but
You're positive. Damn them.
You got autism now.
Tism.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought you meant a different type of testing, but okay. That's
I did, but I didn't want to be covered. So.
Well, any more than you already were.
Yeah. Well, I'm fully embarrassed.
Fucking glass is fogging up. All right, so Dr. Funnies, any plugs that you want to give before we leave? Anything at all?
Just that you can follow me on all social media platforms. I'm mostly active on Instagram, but the handle is the same across all platforms, Mental Health Funnies. You can also check the bio, a link in my Instagram page. It gives a link to all the podcasts, which I will be putting this one on there as well. And just keep following the page. Thank you everybody for your support, all the kind words, the encouragement to keep going. There's definitely more to come.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Great having you. We definitely had a great time here. Definitely be having you back at some point. And once again, best of luck of getting your license. It's going to be a big deal once you get it. So, putting out in the atmosphere that you will be getting it. So, in the world. So, thank you so much, Dr. Funnies, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go check out all of our great collaborators. And then also, please go check out our merch at differentspectrumspod.com. Go check it out. Yes, we do. If you'd like to go check it out.
Yeah.
It'll be in the link.
We got
Nice.
we got rope, shovels.
Wait a minute.
All licensed, different spectrum shovels. All right. So with that, I'm Spencer. That's Nas. This is a Different Spectrums podcast.
We got morning after pill.
Just go. Just
all right,
end
everyone.
it.
Much love, and remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
Then that's completely up to you. Peace.
Bye.
Tell me what you